Hi, it's Whitney from The Savvy Working Mom, and I want to talk to you today about social media and taking a social media break. Yeah, I know. It's like social media is everywhere, and it can feel really positive, right? You look at things, it's like, oh, I'm catching up with people that I don't know anymore. Or I've been spending all this time figuring out what's going on in the life of this woman that I went to high school with and haven't talked to in a decade. Like, in some ways that's cool, in other ways it might not be the best thing going on. Not to mention all the fabulous pictures that you see of strangers and how wonderful their life is, without actually seeing the behind the scenes, right? In the movies they call it the B-roll. It's like the bloopers. You only see the final film, the final cut. You don't see the 107 takes it took to get that awesome shot. And it messes with your brain, right? It makes you feel like there's this level of perfection or wonder that is out there you're not a part of, but it's not actually out there. It's being manufactured. And there are more and more studies showing that the use of social media is not good for us, right? When we overuse it, I probably should say, the overuse of social media can lead to depression and anxiety and people feeling bad about themselves and bad about their lives. And that's just no good. It's not what we want. And it's certainly not what I want for you. And it's probably not what you want for your kids. So it's not what you should be doing for yourself. You got to model things, right? So that your kids learn from example. And so I want to talk to you about taking a social media break. If you feel like, oh, I'm just spending way too much time on social media, then I've got some ideas for you to how to take a break. And the thing is, to be sure, it's not just that social media can lead to these negative feelings. Social media is also a huge time suck. You pick up your phone, you start scrolling, and the next thing you know, half an hour has gone by. Like, where did it go? And I'm pretty sure if you're anything like me, you don't have a half an hour to lose. There's just too much that you want to do in life that losing that half hour to some random scrolling is just, it's not healthy. Or even worse, right? Because that sounds like I'm talking about active time, which I am, is at bedtime. If you pick up your phone and you start scrolling and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed by 10 tonight. I'm going to bed by 10. Got to wake up early. I'm missing sleep. A notification pops up. You're like, oh, Instagram. Oh, what the start, blah, 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 blah. And then the next thing you know, it's 11:30, midnight. Like, the time just disappears. And trust me, more than anything, what I need is sleep. I'm sure you can use your sleep. And so you might need to take a little bit of a break, step away from social media so that you can get more sleep, more peace, more awesome experiences, in-person experiences in your life. And the great news is, because there is some great news, that taking a social media break doesn't necessarily mean going cold turkey and never looking at Facebook again, or Instagram, or TikTok, or whatever. That's not what taking a social media break is in real life. At least for me, I don't think it's applicable to just completely walk away from it. It's just cutting back on your usage. And so I have a few ideas for you on how to cut back on the usage of social media. The first is to put your phone in another room. When you come home, don't keep your phone in the same room as you. Put it in a room that is away from where you spend the bulk of your time. If you spend most of your time in like the kitchen, living room, dining room area, then don't put your phone in there. Go put it in the bedroom. Go put it in the bathroom. Go put it in the storage closet. Just put your phone someplace where it's not arm's distance, so you actually have to get up to look at it. Because that's where we look at most of our social media, right? On the phone. It could be hard at first. Excuse me. It could be hard at first to do this because you're just so used to having it right there in arm's length, right? So you might have a lot of anxiety, and that's okay, and that's totally normal in today's world. So the thing is that you can do it, you can ease your way into it, right? So put it in the other room for 15 minutes, set a timer for 15 minutes, set a timer for 20 minutes, set a timer for 30 minutes, just kind of keep expanding the timer until you're comfortable just leaving it there and not thinking about it. Trust me, it'll work. Just set the timer. The first time, go for 15 minutes with your phone in another room. If that seems too easy, push yourself. Go for 30 minutes or an hour. And then the next day, set the timer for a little longer. And soon you'll get used to not being in the same room as your phone, which is awesome. And if you want to leave the ringer on, leave it on. If people call you, right? If there's an emergency and someone's going to call, then you're going to hear it. And then you don't have to worry about it. Another trick to taking a social media break and cutting back a little on your social media, and this one's focused on your phone as well, is to use a regular old alarm clock, right? Get an alarm clock that plugs into the wall and use that instead of your phone, right? Because every time you pick up your phone, you're more and more likely to go ahead and dive into the world of what's happening on Instagram or Facebook, or again, whatever it is that you're actually spending your time on. So use a regular alarm clock. The other thing that that's going to help you with too is if you're like me, I used to suffer from this. Like the moment I wake up, I would just look right at my phone, like email, check my email. The moment I'm not even, literally not even out of the bed, just there, like the first thing. That's not a great way to start the day. When I started using a regular alarm clock, that all just magically went away. So use a regular alarm clock to help you. You can implement a couple rules, right? That will help with you and your family. The first one would be to have a no phones at the table policy. So when you guys sit down to eat, however often that is, if it's every night, amazing. If it's twice a week or only on the weekends, whatever it is, whenever you sit down to eat, just have no phones at the table. Set your phones aside. Do the same thing inside and outside. So if you go out to eat, also no phones at the table. When you're out, I know it's really hard. So you could just say from the time we order the food until the time we pay the bill, right? Then, because there's going to be downtime, you're going to look at your phone. Just say no phones, put them away. The other rule is to set some days where you don't use social media at all. Like Wednesday, I don't know, it's like meat-free Monday. So you could have Wednesday, social media-free Wednesday, or Thursday, where you're just not using social media at all on those days. Another idea to help you take a social media break, to cut back a little, is to delete all of the notifications that pop up on your phone. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them have notifications, right, that pop up on your home screen. Your phone lights up, it's triggered your brain. You're like, look at the phone, look at the phone, look at the phone, and it sucks you in. Just delete those. You can turn those off without actually deleting the apps, and that's going to help you. The next thing is, though, delete the apps. Deleting social media apps doesn't mean you don't look at social media at all. It just means you have to be much more conscious about it, right? Because you're going to have to get to a computer or a tablet to actually pull up those sites. So if you're feeling really like a social media break is what you want, deleting the apps from your phone is going to be the best and most obvious way. And the last tip that I'll share with you is to designate time for when you're going to use social media. And this could be the idea of, I'm only going to look at social media for an hour a day or 20 minutes a day. And you set a timer and you schedule it in your calendar like you schedule anything else. And that's when you spend your time on social media. Another could be, for example, when you're commuting, right? So rather than having be a block of time, have it be during a certain activity or time of the day. While I'm in line at the grocery store, right? I'll only use social media while I'm in line waiting for things, or I'll only use social media while I'm commuting. Not if you're driving, commuting. If you're like me and you take the train, commuting, right? Don't drive and use your phone. It's no bueno. That would be the biggest one. And then I'll just throw in this bonus kind of tip for social media break. And this one's hard. So it is a little, I'm feeling a little bit like, because I know this isn't something that I do myself, but if this resonates with you, then you should totally go for it. And that is to actually pick up the phone and call people instead of messaging them. Rather than sending a Facebook Messenger or DMing them somehow, just pick up the phone and call. Okay, I'm not a huge phone person. So again, that's a little, hypocritical or just advice I'm giving you. Usually I like to give you advice that like truly works for me and that I'm actually implementing in my life. I don't call people as much as I probably should. At least not my mom as much as she would like. But if you are a person who likes to use the phone or who's comfortable using the phone, then stop DMing folks and just call them. That's it. So those are some ideas for how you can take a social media break. You don't have to do them all at once, right? So just pick one. If you do any one of these, you'll be using social media a little less, which is going to make your life a lot better. Just choose one and go for it. If you want more advice or to hear more about what's going on at The Savvy Working Mom, please go check out my blog, thesavvyworkingmom.com, and slip me a DM. I know I just said don't DM, but send me a message. I'd love to hear what is going on in your life. If you're taking a social media break, how's that going? What are challenges that you're struggling with? Or what are some things that you want to celebrate? Because I'd love to celebrate with you. You can DM me, like I said, or you can email me, Whitney at The Savvy Working Mom. Whitney with 2 E's, WHITNEE at thesavvyworkingmom.com.